I had a great week, and I'm looking forward to this conversation. Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you, Black women. I appreciate it. Good to be
Yeah,
It's
here.
good to
yeah.
have you, Mr. Christian. How are you doing?
Oh man, I'm blessed, black, and highly favored, man. I can't complain.
So you
Uh-oh.
the blessed, black, and Holly favorite. He's a
Amen.
BBH.
Amen.
He's a BBH.
PVH.
BBHM. BBHM. Black,
Bless,
blessed,
bless,
Holly favorite man. What?
bless.
BBHM. Put that in the chat. BBHM. So what we got
Okay.
going on? So we talking about today. I guess I don't know, Christian. You want to tell us something about you, like your favorite color? I don't know, like anything you want to tell us before we start rolling into here talk about this good, deep topic.
Man,
Hey Charles, how you doing, DeAndre?
well, shoot, 36 years young today.
Okay.
Hey,
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah, Jack of many trades, well traveled. Shoot, lived a bunch of places, had a bunch of different experiences. My father is a therapist. My best friend is a counselor. So I feel like I have a lot of tools, and that's how I navigate a lot of my relationships, my friendships. And I think it's enabled me to be a blessing to so many other people as well as to myself. Like I said, I'm not no expert, but I know what I know. So
Ooh, he know what he know.
yeah, I know what I know.
We see you over there rooting for him. So we do have a good topic. We're so very happy to have you. Let's just jump in. The question that we are actually talking about today. What are we talking about, Jazzmin, today? What are we talking about?
We are talking about basically, like, we're using the term they because this isn't targeted towards men particularly or women particularly. And, you know, sometimes we be ready for that. Oh, a man better do this, a man better do that. But the topic is like, yo.
Oh, he ready to jump in. I see it in his face. Like, okay.
The topic is like, yo, if they say they want you. My biggest thing, I added my little spice to it earlier when I did my video. If they say they want you, are they willing? Are they willing to do what they have to do to keep you? Are they wanting to do what they have to do to keep you? Because it's a difference. Like the video, guys, if anybody that's watching, there was our video that kind of motivated our topic tonight. And basically it was stating like, yo, like if a dude or he was pretty much talking about men, you know, talking to women, but we're going to talk about the whole aspect. But it was pretty much like if someone is not willing to put in the work, you know, then do they really want you? Because if they're not willing, it's a difference between wanting someone and keeping them. So, you know, Christian, our biggest thing is like, what is your viewpoint when you watch that video? Like how, like what place did it take you mentally when it came to the concept of being a 36-year-old man, you know, being in the dating field? And I personally have watched how you strategize your dating. I've personally watched how you date. Like you're like a brother to me. So I actually got some of my dating skills from him because he put me on game. He put me
I
on
don't know
game.
now. I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know if that's good or
Now,
bad, Christian.
put you on game, yes, but do you properly apply it is another conversation. We're not going to talk about
Exactly.
Okay. So what we not gonna do is put me on blast tonight.
Right?
I think the audience already
Hot
know.
seat.
Like, yeah, the audience already know. Yeah. But no, so you know, when you watch that video and you thought about how your life operate and how you've seen other people operate in their dating lives in general, what was your viewpoint? Where did it take you?
I feel like the video with the brother speaking, it made me feel a few things.
Okay.
I definitely feel like the biggest takeaway was intention. People moving with intention, and a lot of people these days, I feel like it's a lot more talking and a lot less discernment. You know what I'm saying? Where you're listening to the words, but you're not practicing discernment and recognizing, like, if somebody is moving with intention, what does that look like?
Right.
You know what I mean? What does that look like for me? So when it comes to somebody somebody wanting you and somebody wanting to keep you,
Right.
it really made me feel like it's kind of simple, but complex because you have to know self in order to know what that's worth. Like the way I would break that down is, okay, everybody wants $1 million, right?
I do.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But see, the difference is with that $1 million, some people just want to spend that $1 million, and the other people have the wherewithal to know how to invest that $1 million.
Mhm.
A lot of
Okay.
these men out here and women, not just men, they want to spend you up. They don't
Okay.
want to make that investment. If you give him that $1 million, he could be broke next week, or he
Mhm.
can take that $1 million, and whether he not a quick flip or nothing like that, but actually takes the time to actually invest that money and make smart decisions with that because he cares or she cares. Like I
Mhm.
said, it's not just a man thing, and it increases the value. But I feel like
Right.
a lot of that also comes back around full circle to, you know what I mean? If you're the $1 million and the person that says that they want you, what are their intentions? Do they just want to spend you or do they want to invest you? But also, when it comes to spending or investing, if they do want to invest in you, what exactly does that look like in
Right.
terms of value? And a lot of times we haven't really done the self work to really know what that investment may look like, because a lot of us are dictating or determining our value off of a whole bunch of other online conversations and BS that's going on and not really doing the self work. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's a lot of imitation rather than, you know, taking the time to actually do the work. And so I feel like that's where a big disconnect is, and people end up just kind of going the path like, oh well, I thought it was going to be this. You didn't do the work.
Right. And I 100% agree. I like what you said because we don't go into a relationship thinking that we need to be making that investment. We do go into a relationship trying to say, oh, she's this, so I can get this, or he's that. So we do think about what we're going to spend from the relationship, you know? Because I
Mhm.
like the analogy, like, what am I going to get out of this relationship? And then we begin to get involved in a relationship, and then we become emotional takers or physical takers. We become takers and takers and takers. And if we're just doing all the taking and just being loving this relationship, but really not, it's like a bank, like you said. It's like making all these withdrawals and not making sufficient enough deposit into the other person's life. You might not be doing enough to keep that person because this person is just getting spent and spent
For
Mhm.
sure.
and spent. And most relationships, there's usually somebody who's getting spent and
Right.
spent. You know, sometimes you find a balance where of the relationship where both person on the other side is doing what it takes to keep the relationship. But a
Yeah.
lot of times it's that one person who's doing just a little bit more, and it's fine. But it's one person doing a little bit more. But if that person is not getting fed back into that spirit, they get spent,
And they get
and
burnt
then
out.
Mhm.
it becomes a deficit for the relationship.
For sure. Like it's checks and balances, but even when like there's going to be some spending, but that's why I say invest. You know what I mean? There's a difference, like you said, in what somebody's willing to do to keep you. What are you willing to do to keep that money? You know
Right.
what I mean? It's not just spending, and it's not just about making a deposit in the bank. Where are you placing your money to where it's going to grow in value?
I
Mhm.
mean,
Look at the people the same way. Where am I placing my time and my resources in this woman, in this man, where over time it is going to increase in value? You know what I'm saying? Not just a quick spend, a quick deposit, a quick withdrawal. Like, oh, that's fun and dandy. Like, I could deposit and withdraw all day. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean it's going to grow anything. You know what I mean? Where
Mhm.
am I placing, like, let me put a little bit of this to the side, put a little bit of this to the side. And over time, like, no, it's not going to happen in a day. You know
Right.
what I mean? But nonetheless, these are the particular things that I'm doing to see, like, hey, in a week, a month, a year, these investments that I've made in this person,
Mhm.
they bear fruit.
Yeah. I
Man.
mean, I
So
love that language of investment. Right down my alley because we talk about just like simple stuff like compound interest, right? When we're talking about in the investment thing.
yeah,
What makes compound interest so spectacular is it just takes time for it to double. You don't have to put a lot of effort into it, but if you put it in the right place, all you have to do is give it time. And the longer you go in that situation or in that investment, the more you grow. Even if you don't have more to keep putting in, if you invest right up front, you don't have to keep putting. So I think what happens oftentimes in relationships is, up front we put forth some deposits, like you're saying, but we don't put it in a place that has that ability for compound interest. And so, you put in a regular bank, you're only going to get like a couple cent per month. You see that on your bank account. You get
Exactly.
like 10 cent, 5 cent. That's not really enough to sustain you if you're just doing
Right.
transactional type relationships. But when you
Okay.
have a relationship that causes for more like a transformational relationship where I'm giving you of myself, but I'm looking for us to grow and evolve into something together, that pays dividends upon dividends. And that's when you see those relationships that have been together 30, 40, 50 years and they still love each other. They still like each other. And they're not together just for the sake of, I've always been with this person, but they're genuinely in love. They put in those investments in one another to say, I want you to be the best you that you can be. And really, I want us to be the best. Like, each of us are at our best when we've invested enough in our relationship together that we're providing for one another something that no one else can provide for us. So I think it is important that sometimes when relationships are new, we're excited. Like, we have all the superficial things that we put into it to keep it exciting, to keep the exchange, but we don't put a lot of worth into the relationship. We don't get deeper than the surface or deep, so that we can make sure that we've created a solid foundation that we can stand on. So when the hurricane season comes, what happens to your relationship if you don't have a strong foundation? It's going
I
away.
I have a question for our sir here, Mr. Christian. What does it take to keep you in a relationship? I like to get down and get personal. Like,
Yeah.
She like,
what
Yeah.
does
what
it
this
take
the
to keep
generics?
you right? Because I can tell Christian is super smart, and he already got LaKeith over here, the doctorate. For me and Jazz.
Yeah.
I mean, for a second there, I felt like I was in a meeting at work.
Right. I mean, because y'all are it's beautiful, but what does it take? Like, it just
But in a good way, guys. In
Yeah,
a
for
good
look
sure.
way.
it. What
Hey,
does it take?
Patsy.
Hi, Patsy.
Sorry.
What does it take to keep, like, from a man's perspective? One of the guys he wrote on there, he said that, are you willing to do what it takes to be kept, though? So
Yeah, I
what
think
does it
that,
take? Yeah.
well, okay, I guess two questions. I guess, what does it take for me to be, well, okay, let's break it down. So
Uh
What
oh,
does it
I
take
got
for
him
when it comes
stuck.
to
We
you?
got.
dating, I think, yeah, because there was a lot coming at me one time. But when it comes to dating, of course, the distinction of if somebody even wants to be kept, has a desire to be kept, that's super duper important. And I mean,
Okay.
of course, people being out here casually dating, I think within the conversation, the end goal, of course, should always be like, I'm dating because I hope to be kept. I don't know if you're going to be the keeper, but, at the end of the day, I'm not out here just dating to be dating. But there are a lot of people out here who are. They have no intentions of being kept, or at least not in this present space and time.
Mhm,
And if
mhm,
Right.
the two of you aren't on that same page and like, hey, I'm looking to be kept, and this person has communicated they have no intentions right now, like, hey, I'm just having fun, blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, maybe, but da 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 da. Like, don't, a lot of times people will take that maybe and it'll be like, no,
mhm,
throw that,
mhm,
throw it away, throw it out the window. It's not for you, not right now. Like,
Right.
if they
Right.
were like, you know what? I'm looking to find a partner. I'm looking to be kept. Like I said, that doesn't mean that it's you, but it means like, okay, at least this person's intentions are set. They are at least in search of something meaningful. You know what I mean? Something worth investing in, and hopefully this could grow. So I think a lot of times people get hung up on the communication of that. But then again,
Right.
there's a lot of people out here who just try to say the right thing to keep you in their presence long enough. They don't want to eliminate themselves from being an option.
Right.
So they'll walk back.
AKA love bombing.
I wouldn't call that love bombing, but what I would say is it's walking back your statement. A lot of times, so, in my opinion, a lot of times the first thing that somebody said is usually their honest opinion. And then after they
Exactly.
heard what you said, they'll remix it, flip it, reverse it, backtrack it, just so it kind of more so fits the framework to kind of keep them in the running.
They try
Now,
to
that
put
doesn't mean that
themselves.
you
They
can't
try to.
misspeak.
Right. They try to put themselves in a place where they mold themselves to fit what they think you want. So they're not even being authentic anymore. They're like, okay, he likes ice cream. Okay, I like ice cream. you know, he wants a girl who has this. Okay, let me be that. So they begin to like conform and not just be authentic in a relationship.
To some degree, yes. I don't know. Like, there are some people who absolutely do that, but I also think that there's a lot of people who would do just enough to
Get by.
you an option. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, be like, damn, if I said that, that means that she ain't messing with me at all. You know what I'm saying? So let me just walk back that statement like, oh, it's a little bit of help. I mean, we maybe could, you know, turn into like, nah, bro, like you already said, like you're not looking for a relationship. Okay, cool.
So they be
Let
lying.
me take
But
that.
they be lying.
I didn't
like kind of
say that.
like when a person when a
I didn't
person
say
is
that.
like
What are you saying? Break
What
it
I
down.
am saying is people do
What they be doing?
manipulate,
Thank
you know what I'm saying?
you.
They try to use manipulation tactics, you know what I'm saying, do emotional gymnastics and things like that
They
to
be
keep you
lying.
from completely walking away.
They be lying.
Where it's just like, maybe I'm not trying to invest in a relationship altogether, but that doesn't mean that I don't want to get to know you.
yeah.
And while that might be fine and dandy, either way, the two of you aren't on the same plane. You're not in search of the same thing. And usually you should stray
Exactly.
away from those things. But people have a tendency to not. I find you attractive. Oh, we have fun together. It's cool. But they've already said what their real intentions are. And the
Exactly.
fact that you're like, oh, but they so fine. Oh, but we have a good time together and I want it to be this thing. They've kind of already communicated where they're at. Not
Right.
to say that it could never change, but a lot of times you'll end up over investing in something that's going to leave you at a deficit every time. You know what I mean?
Don't be throwing shade on the show either.
Throwing shade on who?
That's
He's like my
the insider. That's an
he's like
insider
my
thing.
Hey,
relationship coach
hey,
guy.
hey!
Job
He
is
knows
agreeing
all
with you.
about
I don't know.
no,
I'm
he
not.
knows all about my dating
I,
life.
I'm
So
not. And this had absolutely nothing to do with you, Jazz.
I
But
know
if
it
you,
But
did.
I mean, let
She
the
feels
choir say
seen.
amen. You know what I mean?
but
If
Kristen,
I'm speaking to you,
Kristen, you said people be
Preach,
back.
Pastor,
You used
preach.
a lot of words. You used a lot of words. They were some beautiful words. They were some good words. But it seemed like back to the foundation. You know, I'm like, I like to go to the root. They be lying.
She want to know what you. She want to know about you now. She want to know. I'm gonna tell you what.
What does
I'm
it
gonna
take
tell
to
you what,
keep?
Joritta.
What does
You.
it take to keep a guy? Like, what does it take to keep a guy? Because think some women may. So let's come on, Kristen. Think about it. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me, son. Look at me. So look.
Lord.
What does it take to keep a guy? Because you think about some women going into relationships, and they honestly, we're talking from a perspective that they know what it takes. A lot of people don't go into the relationship with that level of knowledge that you have. Like you said, your father's a counselor or a psychologist. So you're already always been around people who are great thinkers. Some people don't know what it takes to keep a relationship. What they know is they know I want this person. In their mind, they're like, I know I want this person. I like this person. I like her. I like him. But they don't really have any idea, real inkling of what it takes to keep this person. And the key is, you know, she talks about all the time just communication. But a lot of people don't even have that foundation of knowing to ask a person, what do you need in this relationship? We just go around hanging around with each other, loving on each other, but we never have that conversation. Are you starving? Are you emotionally starving? So a lot of times women are emotionally starving in relationships. If you get the actual facts, women leave men way quicker than the man leave the woman. You know, the man might hang around and cheat a lot, but the woman go ahead and get a divorce. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But I'm saying she'll leave because she's been emotionally starving. So my question is, what does it take, or how do you know what it takes to keep someone in a relationship? Yes, I want you, but am I willing to do what it takes to keep you? And secondly, do I even know what it takes to keep you? Because that knowing is so
Yeah, for
important.
sure.
I need to know what it takes to keep you, Christian, because if I'm in a relationship with you, it might not be the same as if I was in a relationship with Jarvis. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Jarvis might need something different. You might need something different. I'm married, so I know exactly, pretty much, I don't know, I'm learning what my husband needs. We're in the process of continually learning. But I need to be like looking at him saying, okay, what does he need for this relationship? So how can you help a woman who's watching and saying, hey, I know I got a good guy, but I don't know how to keep him.
Before Christian jumps on that one, I would love to
Deshaun
mention,
said,
especially
Jesus.
If you need
before
it, right.
before Christian jumps on that one. I would like to say too, don't forget, guys, that there is a thing out there that's super beneficial called the love language,
Five love languages.
the
Okay.
5 love languages. And
Very
I
good.
swear, I think that is the most, who I don't even remember who created that thing and who came
Gary
up with it,
Chapman.
but it is okay, Gary Chapman. Like, it's
I've read it. I've
amazing.
read it twice, and I've actually gifted it to a couple of my friends. Honestly,
Yeah, like
it's a good
it
book.
is basically,
Why do
it's
you
dope.
know that it was Gary Chapman? See, just look who we talking
Because, like I
to.
said,
Yo,
I've read it twice.
he read it twice. My boy read it twice, y'all. But no, like for real, before, Christian, for real, like you've given so much awesome dating advice to myself. Like I'm kind of with Joritta now. Like, I want you to like dish out that old school, like, yo, Christian is the type of dude, guys, that like he will look at me and be like, yo, sis, get your shit together. So
That's the
like,
fact.
he is literally like I was
So
so
that's what I want you to
excited
do
to
with the
have him
ladies who
on.
watching today. I want
Yeah,
you to
do that
tell
with the
them,
ladies tonight, because like the thing
get
is,
their
like
stuff together. And
like
how do they do
for,
that?
y'all, for real, and y'all, ladies, y'all know how I am behind scenes. This dude knows how I am behind the scenes,
And
and
we
like
know.
when I tell you, have sat there and he's looking at me, he's like, "Yo, get your shit together, leave that bum alone," you know. And this topic is actually very personal to my life, because I am actually the type of person that will give someone that's doing less than bare minimum a chance over and over again, and I'm continuously investing. I'm investing into something that wasn't that isn't even an investment profile. It doesn't even have that. It doesn't to me, in my mind, it's a big bank theory. It's a big bank. But in reality, you know, AKA y'all, I be playing delusional. I be like falling in love with potential. And it's funny because like I've been on the show in the past and I'm like, no, like there is the thing, like you have that idea of how you want to date and how you should be treated, but are you actually executing the idea of what you know you deserve? And I know for myself, I found myself saying, "Oh, I deserve this. I deserve that. I deserve that. My man, when I get this, that, he's going to receive this, that." And then boom, here I am 2 weeks or 2 months later, like he wasn't what I thought it was. I didn't use my discernment. I didn't do this.
From the
I didn't do
jump.
that. From the jump, you know what I mean?
From the
And
jump.
so, you know, Christian, like for real, like Joritta was saying, like what when you were dating, when you were in the dating field and you were doing your thing, what was it? What was it? How do you want to be? I think that's what Joritta's asking. Like, how do you want to be kept, bro? Like,
What's up?
what does a woman have to do to keep you?
Well,
Just for example, maybe
for
not very
me,
specific to you.
okay.
They
Well,
could
go
be
ahead.
specifically
I'll let
you,
you
a
finish.
piece of it, and then
Yeah, I was gonna say for me, I mean, I rule my relationships off of 4 pillars. Of course, friendship first, and I mean, like a lot of people say friendship, but like I really mean it. Like if the things that I enjoy doing, when I think whether it be my homeboys, my homegirls, no matter what it is, on any day that I want to do something, is this person one of the top 3 people, if not the one person that I'd want to call to participate with the stuff that I'm doing. You know what I mean? And if that's if it's a no, and I mean, granted, we may have different interests, so it's not always going to align, but just genuinely enjoying this person's company, because that's
Right.
super duper important. A lot of people get so wrapped up in physical attraction, not realizing like as much time as we spending together, we're going to be doing a lot of not having sex more than we having sex. So we better enjoy each other's company, straight
Right.
up. You know what I mean? So friendship is important. um Trust and honesty, they pretty much go hand in hand. Beyond the trust and honesty, the communication, but what's more important than communication is understanding. We could try to communicate all day, but if you're speaking French and I'm speaking Spanish, you know what I'm saying,
Exactly.
we'll both be talking at each other and being like, how I told you everything that I need, how are you not getting it? This nigga doesn't speak Italian. Okay. You know what I'm saying? or vice versa. You know what I mean? You don't speak Spanish, so everything that
Right.
this person is trying to communicate, they're not getting it. But if
Right.
you at least have the wherewithal to try to understand your mate, even at times where it's like, hey, I'm not getting what you're saying, let's find another way to break this down so we could at least get on the same page or in the same book.
Right.
But a lot of times people think that communication just comes down to, oh, well, I told them what I want. Just because you told it to them doesn't mean that they
Heard it.
understand or
Right.
even have the tools to try to understand or communicate that they don't understand, even when you said something and they're not quite getting it. You know what I mean? So, communication and understanding are two completely separate things, but both of them are necessary for any friendship relationship to actually flourish. And if I don't have those foundational pieces, it ain't gonna work.
Right. And then what do you do with the people who don't even have the capacity to fulfill your desire? So I'm with
This
you, but
joker
I got
don't give
into a
him a
relationship.
chance. Just saying.
No, I'm saying like you're in a relationship and you done got all deep with this relationship, and after about 6 months, you realize that the things that you need and desire is not that they don't want to give it to you, or
They're just
they just literally
incapable. I
they are
communicate that
incapable.
and I move on. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, I've had to do that a few times in my lifetime. But nonetheless, it was absolutely very necessary. With like, it's nothing wrong with you, it's nothing wrong with me, but just the simple fact of the tools that you possess and the tools that I possess, they're not a match. You know what I mean? And even at your maximum effort, it's still never going to be what it is that I need, and that's not your fault. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
But
Because
you have to be able to communicate that as a partner if that's really what you feeling. But a lot of times nobody wants to be the bad guy, so you try to find this pseudoscience to break up to make it some other. Be like, just say the thing. You know what I'm saying? Cut your losses and move on. It's okay. We're all adults out here. You know what I mean? So yeah, just straight shooter.
Deshaun said something in the chat that just kind of blew me.
Can I please say it? I
Yes,
gotta
I
be
don't know if he's for real. He's
Oh,
joking.
please,
comes,
wait.
here we go.
Here you go, y'all. Deshaun said, first of all I could say was, oop, I just gotta say Deshaun. So if you ain't okay, apparently you've been on the show before. Listen, we goofy. You probably know me by now. Bro, y'all, Deshaun said, and he has a gift that keeps on giving, apparently. He said, let me introduce myself. He said, let me introduce myself. You're talking to a man. Oh, he for real? Okay. He said, you're talking to a man that has 17 kids and he got 13 baby mamas. I don't know if Papa was a Rolling Stone or if he was just blessing like Nick Cannon. But he also said,
And he said it's for real.
He said it's for real.
Deshaun.
Deshaun said was going to keep how old are you, Deshaun? And he also said was going to keep a woman is a strong wallet and head. Most men are very insecure about life, and most men are very damaged from past relationships. I actually had a question, Deshaun. Would you mind elaborating in the comments about the most men portion? Because for me, when I read that, what I took was I need to tiptoe around a man because he's emotional and insecure, but at the same time, a strong wallet and a strong wallet is an accommodation for me. But yes, when you say head, like I need you in that emotional mental space of maturity. Oh wow, he's 47. Wow, he's 47. I need you in that mature sense. But like I think for me, I'm very empathetic. So that kicks me in the butt sometimes.
I don't know if Christians could say something about that empatheticness you trying to have right now.
No, because no, Christian knows. Like I've given people that didn't even deserve 2 minutes, 3 months.
Oh my God.
You get what I mean? So I'm being honest, and so like for me, it's like the money. It's you always want a person that can financially, and I'm saying this based off of what Deshaun is saying. I want a man that's going to be.
Topic.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
He
said keep a woman is you need a strong wallet and
head.
Keep a woman is a strong wallet and
I think maybe I should wait for him to elaborate on the most men are very insecure about life and most men are very damaged from past relationships, because it's one thing to be
Go ahead.
you know, it's one thing to be mindful of that, but at the same time, too, no one should be held accountable. Like when it comes to me trying to keep a man, I'm not. In order for me to keep you, it shouldn't be tiptoeing around your trauma.
No.
It shouldn't be, oh, I know he been through this or I know he been through that, but he's paying the bills and he's, you know, y'all already know I be thinking negative. So when he said head, I just, but
That's
Like, here we go
Jazzmin.
with this authority stuff.
Yeah.
Let me say this real quick, and then we're gonna let LaKeith say something. But I really think for me, keeping a person, for me, it's somewhat simple, but maybe complex. I
Yeah.
think if you are intentional, I talked about if you water your own lawn,
Yep.
if you take care of your own grass in your yard,
Mm-hmm.
if you study your partner, if you pay attention, like if you still running around here asking like, what do you want for your birthday? You're not paying attention.
yeah,
You don't know who that person is. If you see them and just daily how they interact, little stuff, if you begin to really be intentional about paying attention to your partner, a lot of the questions you won't have to ask because you're watching them. You know, if we go get deep for those in church, if you ever been an armor bearer, LaKeith, I'm talking LaKeith because you know that's my church girl. When you're like watching the pastor, you know what he needs before he needs it. So it should be the same with your mate. You should be like studying your mate so much. You get to know like he's if he's not a morning person, you know he's not a morning person because you know that. So you kind of know you're not tiptoeing, but you're just respecting who he is. And so to me, if you pay attention and then you start to see what their needs are, I kind of know what you need because I know what you respond to. I know when I hit the button, I'm like, okay, he like that. I'm gonna do that again. He likes that. You know what I'm saying? And then I also know when I hit the button, he don't like that. Oh, he don't like that. So it's like paying attention. And then I think if you have a relationship with each person, I hang around my husband a lot and he's a Spanish speaker, so my language is getting interesting. But if you hang around each other a lot, you begin to just kind of figure out what each other need. And I think that is huge in relationships. If you got to pay attention to your partner. What you got to say on that, Kristen and then LaKeith, or both? How you want to do it?
Just like you said, pay attention to your partner so you can, I guess, be in tune with, you know what I'm saying, the wants, the needs, the desires, the things that
Yeah,
they don't like. But also, don't be afraid to ask, like, hey, what do you need? What do you need from me?
exactly.
Do you need anything? You know what I mean? Honestly, as long as you do that and actually, like, pay attention, I feel like you'll be fine as long as your needs are also in alignment. You know what I
Right.
mean?
That's true.
Because sometimes, a lot of times, men and women, they'll try to do things to make themselves fit with a person and never fit in the first place. But you want the relationship more than you want peace, or you want the relationship more than you want happiness. You're just so caught up in this person, and you're not even in tune to the things that are filling your cup.
Right. Ooh.
You know,
Right.
so yeah, I agree 1,000% with paying attention to your partner, but more than paying attention to your partner, don't feel like you know all the answers or shoot, don't assume, you know, because people change every day. So you know the things that, especially in long-term relationships, the things that somebody may have enjoyed or appreciated, or someone may even be striving for, their goals, their dreams, their aspirations. Those things change over time. So always just make sure that you tuned in, you tapping in, or continue to ask those questions, because as time goes on and relationships grow and people grow, those things change. So just make sure that you don't get lost in those changes.
Right.
You know?
Sometimes you pay attention and realize that person crazy. You be like, yeah. You be
But see,
like,
it shouldn't
God.
take 2, 3, 4 years to figure that out. Like,
You be like,
the
God,
trail of
dog.
breadcrumbs be there. You feel me? The trail of breadcrumbs is there, but y'all just like, oh, I like bread. Like, no.
You like, he crazy for real. What you got, LaKeith? What you got,
Yeah.
LaKeith?
Nah, I'm with it. You know, I think the biggest thing that I would add to the conversation is about the capacity, right? And that's something that I've brought up in the past. Number one, I feel like it's unfair once you identify that the person that you're pursuing or dating or take interest in does not have the capacity to meet your need, it's unfair for you to continue to demand and expect for them to do
Right.
so when
Sure.
you know they are not capable. Not just not willing, but they're not capable. Then that becomes your responsibility to remove yourself from the situation in a way that's not damaging to the other person, but just honest enough to say, you know what? We need to be able to correspond with one another in a way that we both benefit from this relationship. And if we both can't benefit, we both can't grow, we both can't find fulfillment in this relationship, then there's no need for us both to be tied in when there's somebody else in the billions of people on this planet that we can pair with and find that type of fulfillment. And so I think it's important that, when you're out here dating or seeking relationship or seeking to start, that you're not so desperate to have a body that you're willing to
Just
compromise
any
what you
old
actually
body. Just
want and what you need. Exactly. For the sake of, like people were doing all kinds of stuff because they just didn't want to be alone on Valentine's Day. But that person they really don't have an interest in. They just don't want to be lonely because this is a day where it's highlighted, right?
Right.
And that's how we do sometimes. Like we go through those seasons where maybe I'm just more lonely and I know you're not the one for me, but you know what, you're available to me right now. I feel like in dating it's like feast or famine. When you have someone, when you get into a new relationship, everybody coming out the woodwork, you're like, where you been? And
Mm-hmm.
then when things kind of simmer down, you break up, you're like, all right, it's crickets, where y'all at? And so I think sometimes because those feast and famine seasons may, like, the famine may be longer than you wanted to, or the drought may be longer than you wanted to. The
Yeah.
first person that shows up, even if they're not qualified for you, you're like, I'm just grateful that somebody got here, and you'll settle. And I think that's what the video initially was about. It's like, you're not the one for me, but you're available to me right now. And there are things that I can take from this relationship. There are things that I can get out of, talking to you or going out to eat with you or doing whatever we're doing. But ultimately, in the back of my head, I know this ain't it. This is not my dream girl. This is not my dream guy. But hey, I don't want to be by myself right now. And I think we just have to be more okay with the fact that you can be alone or you can be single, and that doesn't have to be a negative thing for you. It's good to get to know yourself in between relationships because you may have changed. Some of the experiences that you had in that last relationship may have triggered and caused some changes even with you. So now going into the next situation, you're not who you were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, which I'm a believer that you should be evolving anyway. Your core values should, have some stability, but I'm not exactly who I was 10 years ago, and I'm glad. I don't want to be that person. I want to continue to grow forward and move forward. So, it's important that you're first okay with you, that you love yourself enough that like you're not desperate. I think when you get desperate, that's when you start to compromise and like, oh, well, I don't really like that, but maybe it's not that bad because then we start, saying, well, he got this quality, he missing all these other things. Well, at least he got this. And you're like, God, just be alone for a second.
Yeah.
And look,
Just be alone.
don't let him be fine. So if he fine, we gonna make
Well,
it work. We're like, oh, he fine.
yeah.
He crazy, but he fine though. I might can work through it. What you got,
But
Christian?
fun, it don't last
Yeah.
always.
Yeah. Like I said, you fine, but what else? Because I mean, at
Right.
the end of the day, I feel like all relationships are going to come with some compromise, some
Hmm.
level of
Right.
compromise. But if
Right.
you ain't took that time to work on yourself, you're not going to know where your line is until it's somebody done been way past it, and you look up like, how did I get here?
Right.
You
Hmm.
know what I mean? When
Right.
all the signs, and it was so many compromises before that point, but you never established to yourself like, you know what, this is the line right here. You know what I mean? So I'm willing to compromise here and here, but I got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 compromises. Like, okay, hold on, you running it up. We not doing this. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Hmm.
You know how
I'm
they
When he
say,
said, "Y'all
yeah.
mean, y'all mean," hold on, where you from? You say, "Y'all mean." They
I'm
don't
from
do that
I'm
down
from
south.
Philadelphia. Yeah, I'm from
You from
Philly.
where?
Philly.
Oh, uh, she
Cause
did
I know
say
he
that.
don't have that
I'm from
southern. He
Philly.
don't
No,
have
where
that
you
southern
from?
vibe.
I'm
From
from North.
South.
North
Oh, okay, I'm from
Philly,
South
West Oak
Philly.
Lane. Or West Oak
Okay,
Lane.
I heard that, y'all mean. Then you gonna throw a joint in, and they gonna be all confused. Come on, man.
Yeah,
See,
yeah. You know, I figured I was here with some Southern Belles, so they would know
No,
what I was talking about.
I didn't. I didn't.
nah,
It went
I'm
straight on
not.
my head. I do got a
Nah,
question,
where
Christian,
my
to
ears
ask you.
at?
Back to the subject, like James said, my boy. Compromising credit. Compromising credit. Oh my goodness. The question is, are you doing what it takes to keep your partner? That's what we're talking about. But let's talk about the fact that you got that person some kind of way.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and sometimes we get into a relationship, but we don't continue to do it because I'm telling you, we don't. Nah, from experiences, now I know. Like the first time I went on a date, Joe goes opened the door.
Yeah.
By day 15, I ain't seen that door open. You know, like, do we even open the car door? You know, it's like little stuff that a lot of times I think women, I only can talk from a woman's perspective because I am a girl. Like, I'm like all girl. Like, I'm like all girl, right? So I'm a girl, like all the time. So from my perspective, like I go out, like say when I'm out and dating, the way you treated me on that first date or that first month is
Yeah.
kind of like, unfortunately, it's kind of like what I thought the relationship was gonna be. Like I was like, oh my God, he opened the door, girl. He took me out to eat, girl. He opened that door, girl. He brought me some flowers. He just called me, girl. He said good morning, girl. He just texted me for no reason. And so, yeah, you know. And then time passed, and the little things that actually got us that we thought you were so special with, and you were just so different and so amazing. Then that person started turning into this regular old dude. You know, he's just like, oh, he's just regular. But when we first was dating him, we thought, oh wow, he's a gentleman, you know. And for women, I can just speak from my perspective, that is so huge. But then as time began to pass, then you're not doing any of those things you did to keep her, to get her. You stop doing those little small things, because sometimes it's not about the finances. Sometimes it's just those little small things, like you know how we talk about the foxes that there's the little foxes that destroy the vine. It's a whole lot of little foxes that sometimes one person in the relationship, like, okay, I heard when you said that, or you didn't do that, or you didn't say thank you, you didn't say I love you this morning. You know, Valentine's came and you really didn't give me a gift. The first Valentine's, I got this. You know, I had balloons and flowers. And this Valentine, you was like, happy Valentine's Day. What the hell? Well, where's the balloons and the flowers? You know, and I think we have to some kind of way own up to that. And so what are your thoughts about that, Christian? What are your thoughts? Tell me, what are your
I would
thoughts?
say definitely one of the best ways to spoil somebody is with consistency. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not
Ooh.
with actual things, but consistency.
Yeah.
Spoil them with
Yes.
consistency. You know what I mean? Show up the same way. Try to show up and be the best version of you every day. You know what I'm saying? Actively choose your partner. Like, I actively choose you, whether we're together or you're the woman I'm pursuing, you know, on the way to a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, actively choose them and spoil them with consistency. However,
Comma
that
pause.
thing come. It's twofold. It's not just like, okay, if I am opening doors, if I'm doing these different things to woo you and so forth and so on, in what ways are you reciprocating? You know what I mean? Because I
Right.
feel like if you're not reciprocating that energy, and of course it's not going to look the same as what it is that I'm doing, but however, if I feel like your efforts are, you know, like, okay, she's interested, but however her efforts may not be, I guess, to the standard that I feel like I'm setting, then sometimes I think that the man will kind of draw back and, you know, kind of, I don't want to say match energy, because you may think that you doing everything going above and beyond, but he may be interpreting a certain way, because a woman's needs and a man's needs are different. You know what I'm saying? A man doesn't need you to open his door. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? A man doesn't need you to pull his chair out at the restaurant. You
What
know what I'm
y'all be
saying?
needing though? What y'all trying to need?
It depends on the man. I can't tell you what it is, but whether it be, you know, a back rub, unsolicited, you know what I'm saying? Like, to be somebody who, you know, like, not only actively listens, ask about my day, be like, hey, do you need anything from the kitchen? You're hungry, you're thirsty, so forth, so on. You know what I'm
I
saying?
got you.
Like, it depends on the person, but nonetheless, when it comes to, I guess, feeling like your partner's not doing the things that they used to do, I guess when you first started courting, dating, whatever people call it these days, there's a whole bunch of different things. But yeah, making sure that you're checking yourself, and are you doing the things that need to be done for the person to uphold it, the standard that they set, or maybe that may have been some reason for the drawback. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Because a lot of times people do shit that the other person doesn't value. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm doing these things because maybe they're important to me, so I think that you'll appreciate them. And you were like, thanks, but I didn't ask for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't your love language. This ain't your shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you need to, of course, have that communication of what having your container full, what does that look like for you? You know what I'm saying? And of course, you don't want to always have to ask or tell somebody what that is or what that looks like, because you don't always want to have to tell somebody to treat you. Like my lady, my woman now, she didn't have to tell me how to treat her. I showed up. You know what I'm saying? And that's it. But
I see. I see.
But yeah, but when it comes to people doing the things that are necessary to keep somebody and why somebody may stop doing them, yeah, sometimes a person may have just done what they did in order to get a certain result. And if you realize that and it'd be like, okay, you got me. But a lot of times it's if the relationship lasts long enough and it just seems like certain things happen to go away, it could be either maybe you weren't doing your part to make the person feel like the things that they were doing was even of value to you. And that could even just go as far as showing a man praise, you know what I'm saying? Giving words of affirmation like, babe, I really appreciate it when you opened the door for me. I really appreciated how you pull out my chair. That was really sweet.
Right.
That's just like you said, knowing what your man likes and being able to give that to him, that's affirming him. You know what I'm saying? If you're not affirming him that that's even what you like or what you value, he doesn't know that you're placing that much I guess stock in those small tasks, deeds, and duties. So when he stops doing them, oh, it ain't no big deal, it ain't no thing. But really, you looking like, nigga, why you ain't open the door this time? This the 10th time. You know what I'm saying? Like it's sometimes it's necessary to affirm your partner, not like, hey, I want you to do this, but rather than when they do it, just give them words of affirmation. Be like, you know, babe, I really appreciate the way that you pay that light bill. I really appreciate
it.
And you know what though? And that's some good stuff, because truth is, like, if you're affirming your partner, for some, if he wants to, like, ladies, if he wants to keep you, and listen to me clearly, because this is from my personal experience too. If he wants to keep you, when you affirm him, something will click and he's like, oh, she really likes that. So even if he is the type of person that may stop certain things, if you affirm him, he'll keep it going because he paid attention to you. He wants to keep you. So he's going to continue to open that door or let out your chair or take out the trash or do whatever it is that you really, really like appreciate. So yeah, affirmation, that's a love language, but you got to test it out too, because sometimes we don't just go in a situation and say, hey, what's your love language? Hey, what, you know, what do you like? And
people don't even know that they haven't read the book, so they don't know what those things are. Like, hey, what's your love language? Somebody might look at you confused, like, what are you even talking about? Or they'll tell you some superficial stuff like, oh, well, I like it when, you know what I'm saying? Like, they'll give you a sex position or something stupid. Yes. Like, nigga, that's not what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? So make sure, like I said, that when communicating that you are, I guess, speaking in a manner to be clear, to where there's understanding of what you're talking about and how to kind of get the result that you're looking for. You know what I mean? Because, yeah, a lot of people aren't familiar, unfortunately.
Right. And I also think that in relationship, you can't have unrealistic expectations. You got to remember that you got to get to a point in a relationship that you do have some level of comfort, that you get comfortable with one another. Because sometimes people want to always have this fairy tale type relationship. And sometimes fairy tale type relationship is not like, I don't know, some of the little stuff we want, maybe it's not necessary for a relationship. You know what I'm saying? It's like I think every now and then I want to feel like I'm the belle of the ball. Every now and then I want to feel like I'm the queen, but do I need to be put on a pedestal every single day? Is that doable in a relationship as far as when other things about life is going on? You know what I'm saying? So I think that when you are in a real relationship, you're talking about long-term marriage and living together, sometimes there's a reality of, hey, I love you so much, but I might not can do this today because I have these other things that are going on. What are y'all thoughts about that? Because I think sometimes we just,
it's communication. It's communication, because truth be told, we're human. So if I've been doing something for you for 2-3 years straight, a particular thing, like waking up in the morning, cooking you breakfast and making sure you have everything you need, or ironing your clothes, or and you love it, but right now I'm going through a horrible depression. I'm acknowledging what it is. I'm hurting and I simply don't have it to give you. And and things like that doesn't disqualify you and say like, oh well, you're not doing what it takes to keep me. That's me telling you, like, right now I'm human and I'm effed up at the moment. I'm hurting at the moment. And these things that I'm giving you, and I say that for someone, I myself, who suffers with depression and anxiety. Like, I've seen myself do that. Like, I'll be doing something consistently, and then boom,
It just
like
stop.
it just stops. And I have been in the position where I didn't say anything, and the
Is
person
that a
was
red
like,
flag? Should I break
"That's
up with you?
but that's the thing. That's the thing. Now, if the person
Am
is
I
trying,
breaking up with
if the
you?
person is trying to show you, if the person is willing to communicate and say, "Hey, I'm struggling right now, and can you, can you please just, maybe I need some space right now. I'm struggling." But if a person is showing patterns of consistently doing that and don't want to communicate, then yeah, that's a huge red flag. But now it also goes into, a person can communicate and then you realize like, dang, this person may have some issues that right now I can't deal with. So like, there's two ways. You can communicate it to me, and then boom, we move on. And every blue moon, you may struggle and I may have to be there for you. Or you're going through these episodes every 3-4 months, and it's like, wait, I understand that you're communicating with me, but I don't think I would like to participate
Ain't
in this
nobody
thing.
got time
And
for
I
that.
and I think when it comes to dating and being in relationships, you have to be honest with yourself and honest with your partner. It's okay when you have fallen, like when you're falling away from a person. It should be a safe space to say, look, I no longer want to waste your time. I don't think, or even if I no longer want to even if I get into the position where I no longer want to do what it takes to keep you, it should be a safe space for me to say, I think I want out.
Yeah, it definitely should be a safe space for you to say I want it out. But I think that just like you said, communication, all that, everything that you were saying comes down to understanding. Whether it's understanding
Mm-hmm.
yourself or understanding your partner, understanding like, you know what, this season of life that this person is going to, I don't have the tools to maybe assist them in the ways that they need, and being
Mm-hmm.
able to either communicate that to them, you know what I'm saying, or communicate it with somebody to be like, hey, yo, well, how do I obtain these tools to either be able to help them, or
Right.
how do I step away from the situation, you know what I'm saying, and or find ways to support in another way, because the things that you were asking me for, I'm not capable of doing. But
Right.
unfortunately, a lot of times that stuff gets lost in translation, because the partner who has these needs sometimes poorly communicates them because they're under duress. So their language isn't, they didn't
Mm-hmm.
table it, they didn't communicate it the best way possible. You know what I mean? And then, your needs aren't going to be met because, hey, this is what I need from you. Or sometimes the person will do the opposite. And everybody knows a motherfucker who walk around with the sad face, you know what I'm saying, waiting for you to ask what's wrong,
Ain't
rather than
nobody got
just tell
time for
them
that.
what's wrong. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because sometimes it'd be like, oh, I
I
could
don't
tell
like
something
that.
wrong, I'm going to just leave him alone. So I'm not even going to ask you what's wrong because I know you want something
Ain't
and
nobody
you
got time
die.
for that.
Exactly. Like, my G, like, if something is wrong, come to me, communicate what is wrong. Don't make me play these guessing games. You walking around with your face curled up, poked out, looking crazy, and be, man, she got an attitude. What's wrong? Well, if you don't know, then all right, bro, you got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I should already know. Like, nah, don't do that. Like,
Be
communicate
grown
what it
and
is, and
communicate.
and
Quit playing
and
games and communicate. Say what you mean and mean what you say. You know
yeah,
what I'm
but
saying?
and
You know what I'm
hopefully I would have the empathy enough to be understanding to your situation, even if I don't get it. You know what I mean? You
saying? Yeah,
know,
I think. Yeah.
it's just a level of understanding that comes from both sides that's necessary. But communication, like Jazz said, is super duper important. But like I said, it does come back around to understanding what your needs are and how to communicate them, and the other side understanding if they're capable of fulfilling them, and if not, how to not only empathize but either resource the tools to help better the situation or step away from the situation altogether.
Ooh, this brother said he gone, he out.
Man, hey,
Yeah, he looked like he got a low tolerance. He got a low
nah.
Bro,
tolerance
Hey,
bro,
for
like,
the foolishness.
I break up with people from time to time. Don't tell nobody.
Oh, I saw somebody put "Break Up King" up there. I'm like, dang,
They
on the
gotta relax.
birthday, they
Yeah, they
calling you
gotta
out on the
relax.
birthday.
They
you know
gotta
what I
relax.
tell people? I say I'm way too good at goodbyes. I'm way too good at goodbyes. Sometimes I be like, God, dog, God,
Listen,
now get your life
listen.
together now, Joritta. You way too good at goodbyes. You know what I'm saying? You
Mm.
should be that good now. Come on, you
It
know.
Like,
must be a Jasmine thing.
like
I'm
that.
not. I'm not that good at goodbye. Me and Jazz, we take a while to give you the goodbye, but I don't know.
Like,
We need a
Yeah.
little balance in between y'all fast goodbyers and us
No,
slow
I think that
goodbyers.
for me,
I
I
don't
was
think
a
I'm a
slow
fast
goodbyer.
goodbye.
Yeah, I was a slow goodbyer, but then I got to an age where I'm like, why am I keep going through this? I can
Yeah,
see that the house is on
for
fire and I don't see nobody
sure.
getting no
For
water
sure.
and ain't nobody trying to help me put the fire out. I'm gonna have to
Mm.
save
Yeah, I
myself.
Well,
think
unfortunately, my last serious relationship, I waited so long it landed me in therapy. So I'm kind of getting better at saying goodbye because, woo, ain't no way I'm gonna
What you
continue
got,
to
Kristen?
what.
Go ahead. I'm
to
sorry.
continue to
Oh,
do
You
that.
were saying something and I
oh
interrupt both of y'all. So
no,
sorry.
just when it comes to goodbyes, I don't feel like I'm fast to goodbyes. I'm just self aware enough to know like, okay, cut your losses. Like, ain't no sense in like sometimes people the people who ain't fast to goodbye, the people who are really really slow to goodbye, and the writing is all on the wall, and it'd be like you should have been broke up, but you just refuse.
Right.
Hmm.
I'm not. I'm not him. I'm the one who's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's what that says.
But
I
you
read it well.
know,
I know what
well,
it
look,
is.
Kristen,
Well,
nobody's gonna be
sometimes,
perfect though, too. Though nobody's gonna be perfect,
well, and
Yeah, that's
sometimes
it.
the
right?
red flags.
Perfection is never the goal. It's
Well,
it's
and
I'm not searching for perfection. I'm searching for somebody who tries hard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
well, and
You
sometimes the
know,
red flags just simply look like, you maybe thought it was a carnival or a roller coaster or Disney World. So,
Girl.
because
the thing
sometimes.
is, the thing is with them red flags, I
No.
Red flag on.
secretly, as many
No.
red flags as somebody may have showed you and you ignored them, it kind of turns you into a red flag.
Wow.
Seriously.
Big red flag, yeah, big red flag energy. Like, hold up, like it's something
Red
about
flag.
you that enjoys these flags. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he might have some work to do, but he ain't lying about the things that he's doing. But your ass is still just following behind them flags, and it's
She
like,
out here dancing with the flash. Just
you know
Stop.
what I'm saying? Nah, yeah, yeah,
Look,
man.
Aaron says peace is too valuable to waste on a piece. Nope, get somebody else to do it. I don't know what you mean about the pizza.
You
Peace is too.
didn't get it?
which
You didn't
which
get
I
it?
piece?
got
The
it. I
first or the
got it. I
second
got it.
Yeah,
piece?
peace is too
I said
valuable to waste on a piece. So yeah, your own personal piece is too
to
valuable
waste on
to waste on a piece of
a
ass.
piece of ass.
Basically, like yeah, you know what I'm saying? She
What is
bad,
going
she great,
on?
but she's a headache or he's a
The whole
headache.
nother level.
Don't don't
Right.
disrupt your home. Don't disrupt your home or your peace of mind for a piece of butt.
Oh,
That's
my
basically what
God.
he's saying.
Hallelujah.
That's what Aaron is saying. I agree 1,000%.
Hallelujah.
You know what I mean? But not everybody's piece is the same too.
That's
So
true.
those are very important conversations to have. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people will go giving out relationship advice to other people whose version of peace doesn't look the same as theirs.
Hmm.
You
Exactly.
know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like I try to give advice when it's solicited. I don't try to overstep no boundaries because your piece ain't my piece and mine is not yours. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? We good
Right.
over here, baby. So
But that's why you go again. We talk about a lot. Look, he's go into relationship defining what your expectations
Hmm.
are.
Hmm.
Like at work, I'm a supervisor, so I tell my staff these are my expectations, right? And
Hmm.
I don't know where you come from, who you've worked for before, but this is your real expectation, and I judge them accordingly. So it's the same relationships. You have to sometimes communicate, like he's saying, your expectation because people might be treating you from their last relationship. Well, this is what he wanted. I wasn't able to give him, so I'm gonna give this new person that, and that might not even be what that person needs. So that communication is huge. It's huge. It's just huge.
yeah, yeah.
What you
That's
got, Lakeisha? You ain't saying what.
I
yeah.
I mean,
Go
no,
ahead.
it's good stuff. I think that um ultimately, I wanted to kind of get to the angle of when people know, like, this saying this is not it, but I don't want anybody else to get, because that was part of the video too. It was like the guy was talking about they hold on to somebody because they know, I know she's a good woman, or I know he's a really good man, even
Right.
though he ain't like the one for me. Like he checks all the like regular boxes that everybody else would say. This a good man. Don't let him go. This a good man, and they'll hold on to him,
Right.
knowing they ain't really feeling him like full force. They're not feeling you all the way, but they don't want to let you go and actually be found or find a person that actually wants you 100%,
Sure.
because
They don't want to let go of the
they haven't
paycheck.
found anybody. Yeah, they don't
Just,
haven't
just
found
like
anybody
just
better.
Just like we talked about in the beginning when it came to love, relationships, looking like making investments, not just deposits and
Right.
withdrawals. When you know that
Mhm.
this is a dead end job, this relationship, most people don't want to leave that job without having another job lined up. You don't want to
Mhm.
have to potentially go a long period of time without having an emotional paycheck, a physical paycheck. That paycheck being love, affection, somebody to spend time with,
Right.
Mhm.
companionship. Most
Mhm.
people, I mean, they kind of, even if they don't have a direct backup plan, is somebody who got some interest, like, okay, I'm gonna see what little buddy over here talking about, a little shorty over here talking about, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? But you have a good person, but they're not it. So you'll a lot of times stick around if there's nobody kind of to continue to fill your bank account, unfortunately, unless you're somebody who your
Right.
emotional checking account its balance is high, and it's just like, you know what, I can last a while without getting fulfilled from elsewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
But a lot of people, they don't have that, so they're looking for that fulfillment from elsewhere because they ain't did the work.
Right.
Mhm.
And a lot of people are in that transitional stage. Like you meet people in transition. They like in the relationship, but they like out of the
Oh,
relationship.
for sure.
And then that's when the infidelity come in, and really they been gone. Like they were gone. They been gone, but they was just too afraid to really like make that move. When I was
Mhm.
single, I told them before, you guys, one time when I was single, I always would keep a spare tire. You single, you need a spare tire. I always kept a spare tire. I always kept somebody in the wing. They knew I was. I mean, I
Yeah,
did. I was wrong. Jesus had to,
these are
work with
facts.
me. But I kept somebody in the wing because I did not want to deal with emotional pain of being alone or even being hurt. And I wouldn't allow myself to like really heal from a relationship, even deal. I would just like go straight on and put the new tire on because I already had the tire in the wing. They knew I was in a relationship, but they were just there waiting, saying, "Okay, yeah, And I did what I need to do to keep that spare tire, just that back there, look, how you doing? Every now and then checking on you, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people do that. So if you're
Mhm.
single, some of y'all might be having some spare tires that y'all ain't told nobody else, but you got some spare tires, got
Yeah.
some folks in your DMs,
And
and
don't be
then
a spare tire.
Uh,
right, don't be a spare tire,
you don't want
But
to drive
that's
have a
that
spare
car
tire.
how
around
you.
without
I,
insurance, baby.
look, this is
Everybody
how
want that car
we.
insurance just in case it's a wreck over here.
That's
We
what I'm
got to
Yeah.
saying.
light it up. You understand? But that's probably not
So
the best way to go about it. But I
It's
definitely
wrong.
understand. I've been that person. I ain't gonna say I've been that. But I've been that
Is it
person. I ain't
wrong?
gonna
Is it wrong?
well,
I think so
hold
because I
on.
think
Let's
you're not being
wait.
100% in that
Teach us,
relationship.
teach us. How do you know if you're the spare tire? Let's give those
You know
signs.
you're the spare tire. The spare tire know they the spare tire because it's like that person. Y'all got some
They
spare
get the
tire.
bare minimum. They
Yeah,
receive
for
the bare
sure. Or
minimum.
a lot of times, I think in terms of being a spare tire, in my experience,
Y'all
whether
wrong.
I was the person keeping a spare tire or I was somebody's spare tire, because I feel like I've been both.
Right.
Mm,
And
You
for
probably
sure.
more than likely have
And
been both.
the times when I was a spare tire, I voluntarily was a spare tire. Like, I was happily single and was not looking for any. I was emotionally unavailable, and I knew
mm,
it, and I communicated that to those people, because I've always been a forthcoming person, because it was like,
mm,
hey, if I'm for you, or if this situation is for you, even if my aspirations are not to be in a relationship, at least you know what you're walking into, so you don't feel
mhm,
lied to, manipulated, none of that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
mhm,
So when I was somebody else's spare tire, you know what I mean? I knew, like, you
JB
know,
said.
some, like, oh well, such a little buddy ain't acting right, or hey, well, this situation is different than this situation, or this fills my cup in a different way than that.
mm,
Okay, cool. and I didn't mind it at all at that time because I wasn't looking for anything further. So I know, like, yo, this is just the will to get this person to their next stop. But eventually they're going to put a permanent tire on, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Don't be the person who's the spare tire that don't know they're the spare tire.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people out here who are like that, but you know, whether maybe they're being lied to by the partner, that partner's filling their head up like, oh yeah, we about to break up and I'm gonna be with you. Somebody telling you that, you should already know better. If they'll do it to them, they'll do it to you. Like, you don't put your faith in stock in no type of situation like that.
Yeah, because usually that's that emotional, there's something that's missing. Or, you know, for me, it would be like, I know this was not the relationship for me. And I know eventually we're going to have to break up. Like, I already know. Eventually we're going to have to break up. So I just kind of like already want my cushion to land on, you know, for when the inevitable was going to happen, you know. And then how many, you know, there's some married people who have side chicks. And the side chick is kind of like,
some people enjoy that position. Like, honestly, it's almost like having a relationship like a la carte. You know what I mean? To where, like, I get to pick and choose, like, my level of emotional investment today. Like, your hopes, dreams, aspirations, your grandma died, the different stuff that happened in your day that I really don't care about. I don't, like, when you're in a relationship, you're still going to have to deal with that. But during those times, you're going to have to find a way to care about it or, like, tap into your partner's emotions, even when you ain't got it sometimes. When you are spare tires, side chick, side dude, at the end of the day, you basically get all of their good and their bad. They're the things that really you don't prefer to deal with, you really don't have to. You get to pick and choose. And when it's just like, yeah, this doesn't work for me, I could play the background for a week, a month, whatever, until this person is ready to interact again. I don't have to emotionally involve myself or physically involve myself any more than I have to. There's zero obligation in a relationship. There's more obligation. I'm not going to say that you have to do any and everything that your partner brings to the table, but at the end of the day, it kind of comes with part of the compromise where it's just like, okay, if this is my person, then what they're going through, if you're a good partner, then I'm going through it as well. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes them spare tires, man, it's good to be in the trunk. If that's where you want to be.
Because a lot of people can do good in, quote, a lot of people can do good in interaction with each other, but they don't do good with responsibility. And real relationship brings responsibility. That you are responsible. Right. Exactly. So if you're like the side chick or the spare tire, you don't really have no responsibility to that person. You know, because when you're in a relationship, definitely if you're married, like, this is the person you're talking about paying bills with, this person you're talking about the mortgage, you're talking about the car insurance, versus the person who's that side situation. They ain't even got invested in all that. They just there for the ice cream and the cake. They there to be the cake, the ice cream, and everything that's fun. It's not even a real true relationship. It's like going to what it called? What's my place I like to go? Six Flags. You know, it's just, I'm going for a ride. When you spare time, you like that good time ride, but eventually you're behind gonna have to go home.
Listen, some people aspire to be business owners, and some people want nothing more than to be an employee. And what I mean by that is, business owners, even after the day is done, the day is really not done. You got to worry about inventory. You got to worry about, you know what I mean, what's selling, what's not selling, or like, how do we market, advertise? How do I grow this to make this better than what it is? An employee, this is my task and duties. I ain't gonna do nothing more than what was in the job description. I'm working these 4 hours, and after I clock out, I'm not thinking about you niggas until the next time I'm on the schedule and I gotta clock in. You know what I mean? And for some people, that's a great place to be. You know what I mean? Whether it's in an actual work situation or if it's in a relationship. Sometimes I want to clock in, do the job and task and duties that were assigned. After my job is fulfilled, thanks for my paycheck, I'm out of here until next time. But the people who are in a relationship, and more so long-term relationships, they have to tend to that relationship like it's a business. Once you clock out for the day, guess what? It's just like, damn, what about tomorrow? Shit, man, I know next month, man, we might get audited. I got to make sure all the stuff is on point and in alignment, or else, shoot, I'm going to get written up. It's going to be some bad things coming. So Kristen,
Think about the temporary workers. You know, the job
Oh yeah,
that
temp
temporary
agencies
workers.
for sure.
It's
You
a
know,
whole lot of temporary workers where they in a relationship for 3 months, 5 months. That's you basically was a temporary worker.
but
Yes,
see,
you were. Don't even say they were.
it
Yes, they
depends.
were.
Now, some temp workers are looking for long-term employment.
They are, but
You
they
know what
not
I
about to
mean?
get
And
hired.
they'll take whatever employment they could get. Like, hey,
Yes.
listen, I just want a job, but I'm hoping that this job turns into a full-time position.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You know what I
Most
mean?
people start off as temps.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But some temps have the attitude like, listen, I just need a paycheck. I don't plan to be here. You know what I mean? The job might want to keep them on. Like, hey, this temp is pretty solid. I want to keep them on, and they don't want to stay. But most time in a temp worker type situation, it's
Yep.
up to the job to keep you on or like let you go. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
Exactly. Some.
tonight's show just this shows us how much a relationship is a true investment, all the way down to banking,
Absolutely.
Yes.
temporary services,
Yeah.
and full term services. Like y'all, because you remember we did a show and we talked about that. Like it's all of that. Like it's being in a relationship with someone. You know, I know a lot of times we talk about when in a religious sense, like oh, the Bible says get with one person, stay with one person, and faith your way through. But no, in reality and logic wise, like, no, I gotta invest all this time in you. This takes time. I won't start a job tomorrow and become the CEO on that following Tuesday.
Right.
So
It's not gonna be instant.
it takes time, it takes effort, it takes work. And like I said in my promotional video earlier today, like is this person willing, wanting, and is it their true desire to even put this work in? And you have to be honest with yourself. So like myself, you can't be a person of potential. I remember saying, no, I
Not in
don't
your 30s. Niggas is too grown for potential. Potential is cute in your teenage years and your 20s. You hit them 30s.
yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna need some return on investment. Okay?
Yeah, we're gonna need some type of. We're gonna need. It's gonna have to be give and take. I'm
I'm
putting
gonna need
in,
some
but what am I
collateral.
receiving?
I need to see.
Yeah, what am I receiving? Aaron said, "How much does it cost just for you and or your partner to just walk outside?"
What is you talking about, Aaron?
He said, "The business of marriage/relationship is in my upcoming book."
Okay, I see. I see.
Okay,
I
Because
book
see.
it's a
club.
full
Marriage.
blown like it's a big
Potential.
Oh,
full blown.
yeah. Wow.
It's a full blown investment.
It is an investment, but
Oh, he said
it's
potential.
it's
Okay,
it's
Keyword.
potential
potential.
is potent.
Woo, that's good though. That's good though. But you got to have two people who are willing and want the same thing. But I think also this newer generation, kind of like, I don't know, and it's not my generation because I can talk like I'm in y'all, but I'm not. But it's just like if it starts to get rough, do you guys run when it starts to get rough? Because it's like, oh, you know, do we only just want the good days? And when you think about real relationship with marriages, you're going to have good days and bad days. Or is that just a myth that we should not be following? The sickness and health, and rich and the poor, to death do apart. Or are we in a generation where we want everything to be sunshine all the time? And are we willing to go through the bad seasons? Because remember that people, even in a year, there's 4 seasons in a year. In a marriage, there are many, many different seasons. In relationships, there are many, many different seasons.
Yeah.
Do we just run when it get cold? Because I don't like to be cold. I literally like fall and spring. I do not like the summer because it be too hot, and I don't like winter because it's too cold. So like when you are in those cold seasons in a relationship,
While you was in college.
is this time to run, or is this time to put on a blanket? Shaba. Did y'all get that? Are we running, or are we putting on a blanket in that
Can
cold
I run
season?
with the blanket on?
No.
No.
What's the purpose of the blanket if you running?
I'm joking, guys. I'm joking.
What you got, Kristen? What you got?
I was just saying it all depends on the storm.
Okay.
Some storms
If the
you need to
storm's
run
about to
from.
kill me,
Some storms you put on a blanket and weather the storm. Some storms that blanket won't save you. Is that
that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Every storm, every trial, every tribulation is not the same thing. So there's not you can't paint it with one brush. You know, so as far as your personal bandwidth to withstand whatever that storm is, shoot, you like I said, that's when it comes to doing that spiritual work, that shadow work, knowing
Right.
like when these particular type of problems and situations or issues may arise, whether it be financial, whether it be emotional, whether it be, a difference in schedule. You're not, seeing eye to eye on different things. It depends on the storm. But whatever that storm is, not only is it the size of the storm, but it's also the time length. I remember,
Duration.
I remember looking at a professor. It was something where a professor was talking about weight, where it was like, this water bottle, how much do you think it weighs? And students had different guesses or whatever, and it was just like, oh, 1 pound, 2 pounds, whatever. And the professor basically responded with, really, the weight of this bottle depends on how long you plan to carry it. You hold on to this for 1 minute, it's not heavy at all. 10 minutes, still not heavy, but a little bit worse. Hold on it for an hour, 2 hours. If I tell you hold it for 12 hours, how heavy is that water bottle? You know what I mean?
Right.
So how long are you holding on to how long are you weathering the storm? Because eventually that arm is going to get weak.
Right.
The weight is going to get more heavier. So what is your, I guess, how much bandwidth do you have? Like, how much are you able to withhold and withstand before you've reached your limit and you're just like, you know what, this is where the line is. I've tried to weather the storm and it's going to go on for how long? Yeah, I can't do that. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's not even just what some issues. It's just like, okay, these are my deal breakers. These are things I'm not dealing with. So if that storm is coming, I'm out of here. But some storms, it'll be like, okay, I'm going to try to weather it with you. But you know that, hopefully we make it through it, but we can't make it through forever. You know what I mean? So ultimately, we're going to need some resolve. We're going to need resolution. We're going to need results and not just a whole bunch of words, because words ain't going to fill my emotional cup. Words ain't going to put money in the bank account, pay these bills, raise these children, make us happy. But enduring strength. Whoever said that, definitely those are, I guess, took the words and thoughts out of my mouth. Thank you, Aaron.
I like what you said about the water bottle situation, right? You got the water
Yeah.
bottle. You think you can hold it. It's almost like a red flag. You think you can hold it. Like, you're like, oh, yeah, it's just a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
And then that red flag, you keep dealing with that same red flag. You're like, God, no, this red flag starting to get
It was
heavy,
cute.
right?
It was
Because
cute when you
first it
first
was cute.
saw the
You're
flag.
like,
Like,
oh,
oh,
it ain't
nothing.
even heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not even heavy. It's like, oh, well, I can look over that. It's just a red flag. And then 6 months or 3 months down the line, that red flag become a whole storm.
Yep.
Because you gotta remember, every time it storm, before it storm, there's a sign that it's gonna storm.
Yeah.
So you could get out of that vicinity before it starts storming.
Yep.
So thank you, Chris, for saying that. So we're looking at red flags. Thank you for that. Was beautiful. The other thing I want to mention is that Aaron put this. He said most pay attention more to the vows more than they do to the altar, which requires sacrifice. So that's like we going churchy right there. But I thought that kind of struck my spirit there. He said we pay attention to the vows more than we do the altar, which requires sacrifice. Which means that relationship does require. Stop it, Kristen.
I feel like with that statement, and I like to read it again. It just says most pay attention more to the vows more than they do the altar, which requires sacrifice.
Which requires sacrifice. Is that the altar?
It's basically like for the people that don't, for the people that don't know how to see it outside of like just as like a religious statement. It's like the vows are what? They're words, the sacrifice is what? It's the action. So many people, we pay attention to the words, which can be potential, aka potent, because you're telling me I'm going to love you to the end of the earth, to the end of our days. You're telling me, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. You're telling me I'm going to blah, 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 blah. But the sacrifices for this relationship, aka doing the work, this sacrifice and this work has been minimum. You told me at the altar, or you told me when we had an intimate conversation, that you would never belittle me, or you would always, quote unquote, get my nails done, or you will always do this. And then boom, without communication, all of these things stop. So your sacrifice or your actions to keep me, they like we stated earlier, they began to decrease. So therefore, I'm gonna pay attention. I can no longer keep dealing with your potent potential. Your potent
Yeah. So
potential is moving on.
yeah, I think that, we definitely have to set a distinction between people that we're dating and our like muscle failure endurance level for dating
Yeah.
versus people that we're married to, because I think it's completely different. So if you're dating somebody and you
Right.
go through certain storms and
It's
come up
time to
with
say
certain
goodbye.
struggles and stuff, it's easier to be like, cut the ties. We
I'm
don't
way
have no
too
covenant
good at
relationship. Right.
goodbyes.
But when you're talking about somebody that you broke covenant with, or you decided, like, we have dated through storms, we have gone through the different seasons, we have gone through the
Right.
different trials and tribulations, and still found each other to be um, the one person we wanted to, if we're going to go through this type of journey, this is the partner that I want. This is the partner that I can see, you know, taking us to the championship, or this is the person that I can see, like, you got my back, I got you, like ride or die, whatever. Once you get to that stage, then your muscle, like your endurance, should be different.
You build it up.
That comes in time, and that's just like in the regular muscles. Like if I just start working out today, all right, I'll see how many push-ups I can do until I can't do no more today. But if I continue to have a regimen, in a couple weeks, in a couple months, the amount that I can endure is way greater than how I could today. And I think that's how it is with relationships. The more value you find in that person, the more willing and able you are to endure longer and harder storms of trials and tribulations. So if I've been with you for years at a time and you start going through something, you go through a loss, or you go through a sickness, or you go through, a loss of your job, and we're dealing with poor, or I'm in the military, so we see soldiers a lot who leave for deployment and they come back a whole different person, whether that means amputations, injuries,
Right.
things that you can see, things that you can't see. Those spouses have to make a decision. Okay, now we're facing worse. We didn't want to face worse, but here we are. Like, and what do we do with this? And I've seen it go out both ways, where some people are like, nah, I ain't signed up for this. Like, you are not the person that I married. And other people are like, you were absolutely the person that I married. And even though I'd never wanted this to happen, I love you that much. I have that much invested in you that I would lose more by leaving you than I would by staying. And that's where we have to get in our relationships. Will I lose more by staying with you, or will I lose more by withdrawing at this time? When you balance it out and find out if that person, is worth keeping yourself invested in, I mean, I don't, the deal breakers kind of fall away in that sense, because now you've invested enough that it's like, all right, we both have ourselves fully immersed in this, and we're going to both figure out a way to navigate out of this rough place, you know?
Right.
So I think there
It's
definitely should be a distinction, because dating versus like in covenant, I feel like it's two different playing fields.
all right. So
I
you shouldn't
agree.
get married, Kristen, until you are. And I said Kristen because you're Kristen, you're the guy. You shouldn't get married overall until you are at a point where you are willing to sacrifice. That you are with somebody that you are willing to sacrifice with or for. And I think maybe that dating is the process to determine. And that's why if you are dating, you should be good at saying goodbyes if you're dating, because you're trying to determine, is just the person I'm going to be willing to go to the altar with, which is the ultimate sacrifice. Because it's a sacrifice being married. So if you're not willing to do that, and you can't make it in dating, you're definitely not going to make it through marriage, because marriage is going to bring a whole lot of more stuff. Sometimes it brings like a whole lot of children. It might bring a lot of stuff. And then you never know. Like, say, you might get in a car accident. You might have a lot of stuff that happen. Are you going to leave immediately? So you got to think about stuff like that. What you got, Kristen? What you got?
But which part of that? I guess it's the
Anything you.
differences between dating versus
Mm-hmm.
marriage, or wedding versus marriage, or like which part in particular? Because it was a lot to unpack.
Yeah,
And that's
we
what
kind of
we
throw it a
talking about.
lot. So the dating, well, we know dating versus marriage is a huge thing, but I think again, that concept of having, I think she said having a wedding. Many of us are having a wedding, but never really truly getting married. And then I guess the goal in dating eventually, hopefully for some people, is marriage, you know?
Yeah.
And then go back to the original topic, because we always go around.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I'm like,
If you
okay.
can't keep someone in a relationship just dating, how would you keep them in marriage? You know? So you got to think about all the dating experience that you have. How would you apply that to marriage? Because once you get married, you don't want to get divorced, and a lot of us have. You don't want to get
Definitely.
divorced, but you want to keep that person.
For sure. Absolutely. And I think it comes back around to value, like, LaChish had put, when it came to, you know, building up value in that person, it'll have you doing things, making compromises and sacrifices that maybe you wouldn't normally have made, because you have found the value in the person that's worth making those sacrifices for. You know what I mean? But however, you might have to date a couple of people to recognize what it is that you value in the first place, because everybody's values and principles aren't the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? But when you do find somebody who you really want to make that investment in, and both of you are invested in one another, and you do seek covenant with that person, I feel like you value this person differently than any of the other relationships, but those relationships help build you, because you knew that no disrespect to anybody, who I've ever dated where the relationship didn't work out, but something was missing to where I had the wherewithal to know, like, you know what, you're a great person, but I don't see this as a long-term investment, so I don't want to waste my time or yours, because I know my wife is out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and that's why you shouldn't have a problem breaking up, especially when you know that those things aren't present. You know what I mean? But by being able to make those choices, hopefully you're not breaking up for trivial things and breaking up for the things that like, you know what, these are the things that will fill my container. This is what I need to feel fulfilled, and I know what I have to offer another person, and that person exists. Now I'm able to, when I'm vetting my next partner, hopefully I glean something from that relationship to where I'm able to make different choices, even during the vetting process, so that my next partner, I'm not running into the same mistakes and dating the same person over again. You know what I mean? Like, I really do feel like in all of my relationships I say all of them like it was a lot, but, I mean, I guess, at 30, 35, 36.
Right. I'm sure you've been through. Yeah.
Yeah.
You grown.
Yeah, we grown. You know what I mean? Dated enough to know, what it is that I'm looking for and what I'm not looking for. So when I approach, I guess, another relationship like that, what's your favorite color stuff? That's cute for kids. You know what I'm saying? We're not asking them type of question. You know what I'm saying? There's a completely different vetting process that comes with getting to know somebody than actually being in a relationship and knowing the different things that you value and if your values are in alignment. You know what I mean? And that alignment is super duper important. And if and when those things are in alignment, I feel like that's when you can find covenant with the person. And when you're married, the storms that you face, because there will be storms, I feel like you both will be better prepared, because the both of you have found a great value in one another that helps keep your container full, even at times when the things may not be 50-50, it may be 60-40, maybe 70-30, but eventually the pendulum will swing and it'll come back to where it's supposed to be. But there's enough stock built up to be like, okay, hold it, don't sell your shares, hold that stock, because it's gonna come back up. You know what I mean? But a lot of people get afraid, sell their shares, and then be mad as hell when, that stock comes back around and skyrockets, and it'd be like, damn, I should have kept them shares.
Right.
So yeah,
that's
just
true.
when you put in that work, you're able to, weather those storms, but you found one person worth weathering those storms with, and you're not searching for, I guess, something else to fulfill you when everything you needed was right in front of your face.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think as we prepare to close, I'm gonna say, and back to the original question. I don't even remember what it was, but I think in the two shall become one.
Mm-hmm.
And two shall become one. And if you start to treat your partner the same way you treat yourself, and to love your partner the same way you love yourself, hopefully you love yourself, I think you'll be you should be fine. You know what I'm saying? If you see yourself, if you start to see your partner as this is just the other side of me, this is the other side of me. It's like one coin. You know, when you if you can get to a relationship where you become one coin, and it's just
Yeah.
two sides, which means any coin is both sides is very different, but they still one
Yeah.
coin. And I think if you can just appreciate each other the same way, love on that person the same way you would want to be loved, that person is loving on you the same way, you know, and the communication is there. You continue to treat each other with love and respect, you know, and go through the storms together. You should be able to, hopefully all of us, you know, get to where we are in that relationship where the two can become one. And we're not just so much always talking about how to have a good relationship. We actually can walk in that thing where we actually can have a good relationship, a happy, loving life. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all about life. If you think about all the people who are rich, poor, fat, black, ugly, everybody wants a relationship. You know what I'm saying? So relationships are huge. You know, relationships are just like almost like number one. Beautiful Rihanna. She's like, what's she doing? Dealing with a relationship. She got babies and baby dads and stuff like that. You know, dealing with a relationship with her 1.5.
We're not gonna say she got baby daddies because she don't.
She
She
have a
has
baby
a father
daddy.
of her child.
Well, anyway, I'm saying, but still, out of all of that, she's still dealing with a relationship. So yeah, so I
Well,
just
I
say,
mean, that might be a business decision and not, you know, what I mean, a personal decision, because I'm sure she doesn't have a shortage of sweeters. It's plenty dudes who
no.
probably would marry Rihanna today.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Oh my God.
Yeah, mind you, she's a billionaire. Don't know what ASAP's pockets are like, but it ain't close to a billion.
No.
Definitely ain't
So
matching her pockets.
yeah,
And she ain't.
not
And
that it's about finances, but at the end of the day, I feel like Rihanna's situation in particular, it's probably a business decision. So I don't think it's fair to say that about that lady.
well, she's a beautiful lady. You know, very beautiful lady. Very beautiful. She got a life going together, but still, we all want to be loved, no matter what we have, whatever we don't have. We all have that desire to be loved, you know, or be in a relationship. Keisha, you want to say anything before we head out? Then Jazz, and then
You
Christian.
know, yeah. No, I appreciate Christian coming out on your birthday, man. I hope
Happy
that we
birthday.
left some space for you to continue to celebrate and do what you need to do for the day. Jazz, thank you for connecting us and bringing him into the space. You know, I appreciate another Philadelphian. But my last words is, I think, I think about it like, my car and how I fill up my tank. I have a truck, so I have a pretty big tank. Um, but you think about when you're commuting back and forth and you know how long the distance you have to go, you prepare, you try to make sure you have enough gas to get to that. But you should, I think like my father tells me, or some of my mentors are like, never let your tank get past, or lower than this point, because you just
Right.
don't know when something will come up. And I think that's what happens in relationships is sometimes we put in enough so that we can make it to whatever next station we think we're trying to get to, but we don't always prepare for those times where you might get stuck in traffic or you might get caught behind, and then you're on the highway like, oh man, I only had enough gas to get there without the unexpected delays. So when you're in a relationship, I would just encourage all of us, whether that's a romantic relationship or a friendship or your siblings, your family, whatever, don't just give enough. Always pour more, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know, what's ahead. You don't know what's around the corner. And you want to have enough in your cup that you can survive whatever storm or traffic jam or whatever that situation is. Because I think I've learned personally, and many of us have over the last couple of years, that life can change real quick. And some of the
Most
people
exactly.
that that we wish we had invested more into, are no longer around. Whether that means they're gone on, like left this life, or they just left our sphere of influence. So take the time to invest and pour into the people who are important to you, and not just barely making enough to make ends meet, but pour into them, their true worth to you. So that's my words for the night. Y'all have a good evening.
Amen.
What you got, Jazz?
Well, first of all, I gotta do this because Christian knows I'm extra. But on account of
don't do it. Oh,
happy birthday to you. My voice is gone, but you're gonna get this song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, big brother. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, that's my big brother. I just got through being like really sick, so my voice is hoarse. But that don't matter. What it matters is, yo, bro, I really appreciate you. You dropped not only gems for the world,
He dropped the
you dropped some
gems, boy.
that you've instilled in my life, man. And really appreciate you for doing this on your birthday, bro.
Yeah, that's so sweet.
That's dope. And like, I speak blessings over you, your
Yes.
future endeavors, and like, we're gonna start this podcast, bro, because the world needs to hear what you gotta say.
That'd be
Aaron doing the altar call.
Oh, Aaron's doing the altar call.
Deacon Aaron.
He's about to pass around the collect plate. And we going in. But yeah, when it comes to this topic, guys, I think as a whole, you don't need to accept bare minimum. Learn what you want and be patient enough with yourself to not be willing to accept the bare minimum. And I'm telling y'all that now, and that's actually something I'm working on as well. And y'all know me, I tell y'all the raw truth. Like, that's something that I am genuinely working on. So that's kind of like, I didn't really have much to say because I am the type that has accepted so much bare minimum that when I experience something different, it feels so good because it's like, oh my God, it's not the bare minimum. This must be the one, and that's not even the case all the time.
A bit more than
you know what I mean? It's just someone's just a little bit more mature than the last one, and so with